Hello, xin chào mọi người, chào mừng mọi người đã quay trở lại với channel Mr. Karen cho mình thắng lát đây. Ok, hôm nay chúng ta sẽ sử dụng thuyết của Sigewinne. Giờ thì bắt đầu luôn nhé. Rồi, hiểu.
Whoa! How is the infirmary even busier than yesterday?
Chồng người ta.
Good morning, Traveler and Paimon. I have a few people here for a checkup, so you might need to wait for a while. No problem. Anything we can do to help? There's a bit of a complicated situation here. I'm still getting to the bottom of it myself.
You have to believe me. I'm telling the truth.
Dù gì thế?
You're in a medical facility. Keep it down.
Please, listen to me. I'm not Gascon. I'm Uy.
You're a horrible liar, you know that? We get all your mugshots with the arrest warrants. It's clear as day that you're Gascon.
You mean because of the way I look? I don't know what happened. I just woke up like this. Then you guys dragged me in here for an interrogation.
I brought you here to figure out what's going on. If you truly are the victim of an injustice, yelling isn't going to achieve anything. At most, it'll delay your vindication.
All right. I get it.
This is nuts. Yesterday's interrogations went fine, and now this.
Morning, Your Grace. What's going on?
Remember the case I mentioned yesterday? The one brought to me by the Marachose Phantom? Well, we've been questioning the inmates involved this morning. Every single one of them is claiming mistaken identity.
That's even weirder than what that guy was saying yesterday.
The thing is, none of them have been able to provide any evidence whatsoever to support their claims.
And we thought yesterday was as busy as it got for Sigewinne.
We've compiled their statements. Have a look. Perhaps there's something we missed.
Thì ra là thế. Cầm long cháu phục. Cái tên bắt đầu dùng là cầm long cháu phục.
Wait.
Release? Interesting. The inmates they spoke of in their statements appear to all be due for release today.
I noticed that too. If that's their plan, they're underestimating us a little. Every serious offender claims that there's someone else who just so happens to be due for release today.
All the more reason to be cautious. Lumberzar, check the release list for today and make sure no one gets processed. We're gonna need an excuse, though. Just say we're out of forms.
I'm on it.
Ok.
It's conceivable that our group of serious offenders somehow found a way to switch places with inmates who are about to be released, so they can walk out right under our noses.
We did consider that possibility. But I mean, just look at them. They match the warrants, period. How could there have been a switch?
Only if they're dead ringers for the inmates due for release, I suppose. I gave you that name list yesterday to assist in your investigation.
Yes, the inmates' mugshots were attached to the list. The only other thing that stands out to me is that their voices sound a little different.
Oh, really? What does our head nurse make of all of this?
Give me a moment. I think I have a way to confirm whether there's been a switch. I know, it's not time to change your dressing yet, but please bear with me. Huh? Isn't that the guy from yesterday? This should be Honore. He has very severe facial ulcers, which require an operation in the hospital at the Court of Fontaine. I authorized him to leave the fortress for medical treatment under guarded escort.
Yes, like I told you. I'm not Putton. I'm Honore.
So there has been a swap. Well, I can see what happened in Potton's case. But how do you explain the other inmates?
No, I believe it was their faces that got switched. The method is a bit like replacing a tooth. Take the bad tooth out, put a false one in. Traveler, Paimon, do you remember Eric from the other day?
Yeah, sure do.
Then you can be my witnesses. To start with, please fetch the inmate who claims to be Eric.
Yeah.
So, you're Eric?
Yes, head nurse. It's me. You do believe me, right?
I need to do another examination on you. See,
All right. It's the cognition test first, right?
now try to recall if you can. The last time we did this test, which finger did I hold up?
I believe it was your index finger.
But that means...
Nhưng mà không phải là cùng một người.
Huh?
So, basically, last night, the Eric who said he saw another him suddenly recovered and applied to leave the observation ward. Sigewinne did another test before letting him leave, but that time, she held up her pinky finger.
Huh? I don't know about any tests last night. There was nothing to do in the observation ward, so I went straight to bed.
Well, in that case, there is a reasonable explanation for the strange events of the past 2 days.
Thì
So, what exactly happened?
The gang of serious offenders wanted to break out of prison, so they identified a group of scapegoats, namely inmates whose terms were almost up. Last night, when Odilon was on duty, they ambushed him and had one of their group switch appearances with him using their face-swapping method. That allowed them to avoid scrutiny from the other guards. Then, once all the other inmates were asleep, Odilon spent his night shift carrying out the remainder of their switcheroo plan.
hợp lý rồi đó.
However, they made one mistake. Henri changed his appearance to match Eric's earlier than he should have done, and ended up being spotted by the real Eric. Real Eric came to the guards for help, but we didn't know then what we know now. However, since one of the gang members was posing as a guard, they simply changed real Eric's appearance and had their...
Right, because I put Eric on the observation list by then, and no inmates on that list can be processed for departure until I've discharged them.
Hence why the imposters had to pull that little stunt to get fake Eric off the list.
Yeah, it all makes sense now. The Duke cracked the case.
Well, I can't fault the reasoning. But I'm afraid that we ruled out the possibility.
Criminals altering their facial appearance to commit crimes is nothing new. In fact, we carefully examined all the suspects, and there is no...
Well then, how do we explain all this?
So far, it seems more likely that the gang stole documentation belonging to the
Actually, there is a potion that can completely change someone's appearance. If they use that, even a Melusine wouldn't be able to detect it.
A shape-shifting potion?
Forgive me, head nurse, but this is the first time I'm hearing about it. If such...
Yes, I am.
But
Please, trust me in my professional opinion as an experienced clinician.
At the same time, without any solid evidence, it's pure speculation. Yep. Let's do...
okay. Well, it was our negligence that meant we had to come and conduct these post-internment interrogations. And I know it's put you out. We'll do it your way.
Your Grace, bad news. I paused the releases like you asked, but we were too late. I checked the list, and sure enough...
2 hours ago? That's before today's interrogation.
So there really was a switch after all. They really pulled the wool over our eyes on this one.
We should be able to catch up with them if we leave now, right?
Not if that potion is real. They can just switch faces again after leaving the fortress. And if the...
Yikes! So we're at a complete dead end!
Well, technically there is one more lead we could follow up on. We were only able to arrest this gang thanks to the help of a researcher from the Fontaine Research Institute. I believe his name is Rawat.
Oh? Rawat? Isn't that the handsome guy we met at that skincare promotion?
Handsome? Maybe from a human point of view. One of the crimes this gang is charged with is the manufacture and sale of illicit drugs. According to Mr. Rawat, they appear to have stolen tech. At first, he thought it was a typical case of intellectual property infringement, and he tried to negotiate with them. But once he discovered their criminal operation, thanks to his report, we were able to swoop in and arrest them all in one go.
What a hero! Bet that took courage on his part.
No doubt. This is worth following up on. As the one who snitched on that aside, since he's negotiated with them in person before, there's a chance he'll
Understood, Your Grace. My team and I will head to the Fontaine Research Institute right away.
Okay.
In the meantime, please keep an eye on the face switch victims for us.
Of course.
Miss Morgan, I'd like to come along and help you catch these criminals.
Huh?
Well, I'm the one who discharged the fake Eric last night, so...
Don't say that, head nurse. Your focus was on the inmate's health.
I also have a more personal reason. Cotton is a patient of...
Look, head nurse, I completely understand where you're coming from. But
Don't worry, I can defend myself just fine.
You say that, but still...
If I may, Miss Morgan, Sigewinne is the one who raised the potion hypothesis, and I'm sure she has far more expertise on the topic. And if you really are worried for her safety, then... Ah, there you go, right on cue. Knew I could count on you.
Okay.
Okay. Well, since this plan has the Duke's blessing, far be it from me to refuse. Greetings. Sorry to impose, but I'm afraid we're here on urgent...
The Marche Phantom. Let me guess, you're investigating some more illegal research?
Not this time, no. We're looking for a researcher. Do you know where we might find Mr. Rawat?
Rawat. Oh yeah, Mr. Handsome, right? He actually doesn't work on site here very often. There's a handful of researchers in the nearby area who know him pretty...
Just a handful? Paimon figured...
Well, I guess you could say he's popular, at least on a superficial level. He's blessed with good looks, so he tends to make a good first impression on people. But in all his time here at the Fontaine Research Institute, I don't think he's ever had a single deep conversation about his
That's so weird. He definitely didn't come across like a recluse at that product promotion.
I don't find that weird at all. He definitely didn't strike me as the kind of guy who's, good at...
Really? Paimon couldn't tell.
Okay, we should talk with his acquaintances. But we also need to check the Research Institute for any clues.
Sure thing. We'll go ask around among the other researchers with Sigewinne. Paimon's suddenly kind of curious to know what everyone really thinks of him. Excuse us, are you Audrey?
That's me. What is it?
Are you close friends with Rawat? We're trying to find out where he is.
Close friends? You mean because I told him I had feelings for him once? I doubt I'm the first, or I should have known, really. Men like him, they just didn't...
Okay. We were just kind of wondering if you might know where we can find him.
Why would I know where he's at? I barely know him, and he probably doesn't...
Ugh, this is getting annoying. Shall we go ask someone else?
I think she knows Rawat better than she cares to admit.
Maybe, but we're not going to get much out of her while she's in this state.
She's displaying symptoms common among people in love, if that's what you mean.
It's curable?
Dạ được hả?
Oh, we're still no closer to finding Mr. Rawat. Oh, by this point, he could be in grave danger.
Danger? Wait, why are you looking for him again?
Oh, that's right, yeah! The Marechaussee Phantom said that he's been targeted by some pretty bad people. We need to make sure he's safe.
What? How has this happened? He seemed fine when I last saw him, and that was only a couple of days ago. Just happened to run into him, of course.
Oh, I see. Well, do you have any thoughts on where he might be right now?
Okay, but this is purely out of concern for his safety. If he's not at the Institute, he might be at his mother's place. I heard she raised him alone, that they had it pretty tough financially, and these days she's housebound due to illness. He makes regular trips back home to check on her.
Oh, okay. Do you know the address?
Nope, sorry. I only found out the thing about his mother because it came up in conversation once. I was just trying to find out more about him. When I told him I had a crush on him, I offered to help him take care of his mother. And yeah, maybe that was unbelievable. These guys only want to show you their charming, well-groomed exterior. They can't stand it when a few home truths shine through.
Looks like her love syndrome is flaring up again.
We need to find out Mr. Rawat's mother's address. Let's check with the Marechaussee officers when we regroup.
Ok.
Cool, sounds like a plan. Hey there, are you in Teeb?
What do you want?
We're here to ask about Rawat. Any idea where he might be? We were told you were pretty close with him.
Close? Not sure that's the word I'd use. He wouldn't even let me use his patent.
Huh?
It's been a good few days since I last saw him. I don't know where he's at. Go ask someone.
Would the patent in question happen to be related to the new...
Yeah, kinda. Butterfly do, or whatever he calls it.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Keep going.
Most of the other researchers here focus on mechanics, energy, stuff like that. I get why he wouldn't be interested in having anything to do with them, but I'm studying coatings. There's a huge overlap in our areas of research. Why would he refuse to work with me? I bought his product once and noticed it contains a unique substance that might have applications in coatings too. If it worked out, don't get me wrong, I had no intention of plagiarizing his work. I was hoping to get official permission to use it, but despite that, he turned me down not once, not twice.
Huh, so is Rawat antisocial, or is this guy just jealous? Well, it doesn't look like we're gonna get any info about Rawat's whereabouts from him.
Wait, 1 second. Mr. Antibes, next time you go shopping, you should buy some Buell fruits. Peel the skin, steep in...
Huh? Yeah.
Sorry to bother you, sir, but are you Bertram?
Who's asking?
Just some concerned citizens helping out the Marechaussee Phantom with an investigation. We'd like to ask you about Rawat's whereabouts, if that's okay.
Not anymore, we're not. Turns out we don't see eye to eye.
Oh yeah? What happened?
Nhà khoa học thì hay đi cùng. Họ là những người thông minh nhưng cũng là những người gọi là thiếu gọi là giao tiếp xã hội. Nhà khoa học có thể thông minh trong chuyên môn mình thôi chứ còn những vấn đề xã hội không thông minh lắm.
The thing about us researchers is, most of us do what we do for some sort of higher purpose, but not Rawat. All he cared about was how to commercialize his find. He won't even let you work with him unless you sign a confidentiality agreement first. Also, he has better control over who gets which intellectual property rights. How are you supposed to get any meaningful... Now that I've got my own technical solution for my compressor, I don't need to work with him anymore.
So that's what Rawat is really like.
We'd still like to know where to find him. Is that something you can help us with?
Wait, you're... Yeah, I know you. You're the head nurse at the Fortress of Meripede. All right, then I'm happy to help you if I can. I respect...
Wow, turns out Sigewinne's got some real clout.
Thing is, I have no real way of knowing where he might be. I stopped working with him 2 months ago. But if you want my advice, I'd say go talk to the peddlers. There's a few...
Peddlers?
Yeah, back when I was working with him, I noticed he met with them quite often. Wouldn't surprise me if they were involved. The little I overheard was about manufacturing and selling pharmaceutical drugs.
Drugs? Doesn't he work with skincare products?
Who knows? I never cared to find out. He's the morgue rubber, not me.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay.
Goodbye, and may we both reach new heights in our scientific endeavors.
You know, Hyman started out thinking Rawat was a handsome researcher with a friendly and cheerful personality.
So, what's your view of him now, Paimon?
A handsome researcher whose difficult upbringing turned him into a profit chaser with a chip on his shoulder?
So, your thoughts about his appearance haven't changed at all?
Well, his looks are kind of a big deal. At least in Paimon's opinion. How does such a handsome guy end up being so antisocial?
You can't judge a person solely based on their appearance.
Head nurse. Traveler. I assume you've spoken with the researchers.
Bertram mentioned Rawat's involvement with some pharmaceutical merchants. Do you know if he's registered any pharmaceutical brands?
Since he was a whistleblower on such a huge case, I ran a background check on him.
How strange. If he was so focused on commercializing his research and averse to sharing his technology with others,
Vậy nghĩa là
why wouldn't he have registered
Loại
his
thuốc
own
đó.
brands?
Nghĩa là thằng đó có thể là một cái đám ở trong tù.
Maybe he and his business partners needed to avoid public scrutiny?
You think he may have colluded with the gang?
Isn't that pretty unlikely, though? He was the one who blew the whistle on them!
Most children who come to me with tooth decay have suffered pain for a long time already, but they'll still try to hide the fact that they eat too many sweets. Grown-ups and children...
If you say so.
I saw him when he came to make his report, and I certainly didn't get the feeling that he was the type to collude with criminals. You mentioned that he comes from a poor family. So, it's possible that the criminals, by the time he discovered who they really were.
That does make a lot of sense. It would definitely explain why he was so unwilling to cooperate with his fellow researchers. No wonder he's so unsociable. He must be on edge all the time with a gang of crooks breathing down.
In that case, the situation could be worse than we thought. If Rawat was working with the escaped inmates, they're sure to know more about his whereabouts than...
Based on the information we've gathered so far, he was last seen 2 days ago.
2 days ago? So he went missing right after that product promotion.
That was the same day he reported the criminals, too.
Don't worry, everyone. I believe we still have a chance.
Yeah, he must have been worried that they'd come for him.
All the more reason to find him as soon as possible. The only lead we have at the moment is his mother's house, which you mentioned earlier.
Yep. When you register a brand, the Court of Fontaine requires you to provide a legal address. The one Rawat wrote down was in the outskirts of the city. That should be the place.
Okay.
Okay, then there's no time to lose. Let's move.
All right, this should be the house.
Okay, I'll knock.
Sounds like whoever's inside has restricted mobility. It seems serious. What's the fastest way to get this door open?
Break the door down?
No, I'll handle it. Let the expert deal with it. There'll be a mountain of paperwork if we damage a citizen's property. Calm down. Deep breaths. Remember your training. Control your strength. And... it's open!
Seath, take a few people and lie in wait. Keep your eyes peeled for any activity around the house. The Traveler, head nurse, and I will go inside.
Hello? Anyone home? Oh, there. On the bed, there's an old lady. That's gotta be Rawat's mother, right? She doesn't...
We could try, but she is very ill. We mustn't force it.
Well, doesn't look like Rawat's here. She's the only one we can talk to.
Yep. Allow me. ask if you're Rawat's mother? We're... Hard of hearing, perhaps. Does anyone have a picture of Rawat?
I have one here.
I'd like to show you a photo, ma'am. Is this your son?
Looks like this isn't gonna work after all.
Well, looks like we're out of leads.
Is it possible he could have avoided returning here because he...
Maybe. But if so, where do we look next?
Guess so.
I suggest we all return there now. We found a good amount of useful information the first time.
Sorry, officer, but could I stay here for a while?
Of course. Traveler, stay with the head nurse. You're technically here as her assistant after all.
Also, I'd like some Marechaussee members to stay as well, and keep an eye on the area.
Why's that?
If Rawat knows how serious his mother's condition is, he will return.
Got it. Okay.
Thanks for helping me out yet again, Traveler and Paimon.
No problem. But when you say her condition is serious...
Yes. She's barely clinging on to life.
Oh.
Let me take care of a few things first. Could you pass me the towel over there?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I can tell that her family has tried a lot of different treatment methods, including some very expensive medicines. Unfortunately, her condition is so multifaceted that a recovery looks all but impossible.
Sigewinne. Paimon bets being a nurse must be pretty tough at times like this.
Yes, it makes me a little sad. In Melizine's eyes, a human's birth, aging, sickness, and death are as much a part of natural law as sunrise and sunset. But human medicine can defy that law to some extent. In that sense, it is a science of miracles. That is why I became fascinated with it in the first place. But it was only after I truly became a doctor that I realized miracles don't always happen. Even the greatest doctors cannot cure all diseases.
Sigewinne.
Well, don't worry about me, Paimon. A doctor's duty is not to cure all diseases, but to treat whatever ailments they can. At the very least, I can lower her fever. That way she'll suffer less. And she might even be able to see her son.
Yeah. All the more reason to find Rawat as soon as possible, even if we don't catch those crooks.
Oh, her fever is getting worse. Could I get some hot water?
Sure, we're on the case.
Found the hot water?
Sure did. And look what else we found. Judging by this journal, it seems like Rawat has a private lab. There's a good chance he could be there right now.
Oh, that's great news. But hold on just a moment. The wet towel is ready. I'm giving you another injection. Are you feeling better now? It's all right. We'll go bring him back.
Thank you. It's Officer Morgan! They're already here!
We came as soon as we heard the news. I can't believe we were so careless. The most crucial information of all was hiding right there.
Don't blame yourself. Right now, we need to focus on finding a way in.
There's a mechanical door over here. Hopefully the instructions in Rawat's journal will help us.
Để tao cái gì cũng tới tại tôi, để ta tránh ra.
It's open. Let's go in.
Okay.
Captain, according to our list, many of the fugitives aren't accounted for. There may be
So these guys were just the lookout crew.
the Mara Shosei Phantom. How did they find this place?
Wait, it's that guard from the fortress.
That's right. I'm on your side. I mean, the Duke sent me. What's the matter? Some sort of mix?
Mr. Odilon, didn't I tell you a few days ago that you need to stop all field work until...
Well, you know.
Officer Morgan, this man is an imposter. The real Mr. Odilon has no recent health issues.
What? But I...
Looks like the head nurse was right about the face-swapping method. Arrest them all! DuPont, stay here and keep guard. And watch the exit. If we're not back soon, call...
Got it.
Okay.
So many jars. Was this some sort of production facility?
The scent. It's probably the ingredients used to make butterfly dew.
How come they're all empty? Did it sell so well that he ran out of supplies?
How strange. Why would Rawat choose to manufacture a popular product like that in such a difficult-to-reach location, given our suspicion that he may have been coerced into the illegal drug trade?
Perhaps butterfly dew is itself an illegal drug.
Do you have any evidence for that claim?
No, just a guess. We need to find Rawat as soon as possible.
Understood. Well, let's not linger here.
This room's much smaller than the others.
Judging by the implements on the table, this looks like a potion-making...
Head nurse! Over here!
Let's see. Huh? Rawat's...
Perhaps they stripped him down, left the clothes behind, and...
Yikes, Sigewinne, where did that come from?
Oh, what a tragic way to go.
There's a path leading further on, Officer Morgan. Let's...
Shh! There's a whole bunch of people in there!
Are you serious? You're telling us that within a day, our faces are going to rot like yours?
Fontanian physiology changed dramatically after that great flood, and it's not as compatible with this face-changing solution as before. The side effects are as you can see.
Why didn't you say anything before we all used it?
Look, my plan got you all out of prison, didn't it? You'd have much bigger problems to worry about right now if the Marshal say Phantom...
Ugh. You're just lucky we didn't leave you in there, after you disappeared on us with no warning. We only let it slide because we're former partners. And now you have the...
Partners? Make no mistake, each of us is only looking out for himself.
Okay.
If you hid things from me too. Remember how you each had a spare potion? You kept quiet about it until we planned the prison break?
Oh, and you didn't have a secret spare? Then do you want to explain how you melted your face off before all...
Guys, that's enough. Calm down. It is what it is. Arguing won't... What's the plan, Parton? I'm assuming you brought us here for a reason?
There is no plan. We followed him here on the promise of more juice. But it turns out there ain't a drop here. Besides, what does it matter now anyway? He already said,
Even if I said enough arguing. Pardon?
The most practical solution is to continue using the potion. Keep switching to a new face before the...
Are you kidding me? This stuff was hard enough to get a hold of even when we had a supply. Now you're asking us to use it like...
Well, there is another option. But you'll have to make a deal with me first.
Okay, now we're talking. What's...
I have a document I took from that researcher that details how to make a replacement. Just give me one bottle of the What's the problem? I thought you always kept reserves. Or do you really just have one spare bottle?
What do you think? That we were shipping them into the fortress of Meripede by the basket load?
Well then, say hello to never showing your marred faces.
Ugh, I've heard enough! Get him! Let's...
Freeze! Marshose Phantom!
What? Who let them in?
Officer Morgan, before anything else, please find out Rawat's status.
Rawat?
I don't see him.
Spare us your condescending attempts to coax us back.
Putton?
Arrest them all! Don't let anyone... Huh. Gotta say, I never expected to see the head nurse in combat.
Some patients respond better to a more aggressive treatment plan. Did we get everyone?
Captain, we finished the head count. Potten's missing.
Over there! The door's closing!
One group trying to arrest me, another trying to hunt me down. Good. I gotta kill two birds with one stone.
How did he get up there?
Don't waste your energy. I already sealed it off.
How naive. We have more people out.
Well then, you'd better hope they get here in time.
There's some kind of gas leaking from the pipes. Be careful.
This is our distribution center, where we store the product derived from our source. The pipe network here was designed to emit a gas for firefighting. One little modification later?
Why would you do this?
Oh, please. If they can't supply what I need, they're of no further use to me.
He's a maniac! Come on, we gotta find a way to open that door!
Go ahead, struggle in vain. Once the last of you croaks, no one will ever...
Are you sure you're ready to leave, Potton? You haven't changed your dressing.
You can't cure my face. Just give up.
And what if I could?
Nice try. You're just trying to stall me. Don't you worry about me. I'll find a way to cure my face once I get out of here.
Oh, I doubt it. After all, Fontanians can no longer dissolve in primordial... The key component of the face-changing potion is the fluid left behind by dissolved Fontanians. It might look like ordinary water. Before the flood, all Fontanians were oceanids, physiologically speaking. A potion made from that fluid could dissolve and reconstruct the face of a Fontanian in much the same way as hydroidolins change form. Theoretically, it could give someone any appearance they wished. But since the flood, Fontanians have become true humans. They can no longer provide the source material for this potion, nor reap its benefits.
Are you saying this potion is made from Fontanians dissolved with primordial seawater?
How could you know all of this?
It also means that I have a formula you're...
I might get to make a deal today.
Oh, it's not a formula, but a finished product.
What?
When I tried Rawat's skincare product, I noticed it had a certain special component in it. I'm guessing his skincare lotion contains the fruit.
Huh. Impressive guesswork. Yeah. But it only contains a tiny amount of the active ingredient.
Well, I found a way to reverse the dilution process, giving the skincare lotion a similar effect to the flu.
That's impossible.
If I tell you some of the ingredients, I think you can figure it out. First, you need to combine tainted hydrophantasm tissue.
Tainted hydrophantasms and transoceanic
So, Can we make...
Sounds good to me. There's a delivery pipeline beneath this window. Drop the...
Nope, not trusting you that easily. You're like those naughty kids who try to hide their illness. Open the sluice gate first, then I'll hit...
Even if you're not bluffing, your potion won't cure my face permanently. I'm not closing the valve that...
Fine, then I'll just stand here with the potion in my hand.
No.
It's open!
Disable that sluice gate! Jam it! Don't let it close again!
That's more like it. In that case...
Head nurse, there's too much poison gas in here. We have to leave, now!
That was too close. That button is...
Oh, don't be too quick to sit down. Moving around a little will help relieve the... Same goes for you, Traveler. Oh, but Paimon, you should...
Flying fast is pretty tiring too, actually. Anyway, that's not important right now. Paimon's still shocked to learn that there's a whole criminal operation.
Shame I ended up giving the improved version to Potten after finally making it for you.
No, please don't. Paimon doesn't want to use that stuff anymore. Still, it was a pretty good job that Paimon wanted to buy some in the first... Yeah, Paimon was just kidding.
Head nurse, I've done a final head count of our team and the criminals. Everyone... It's a shame that we didn't find Rawat.
What a horrible bunch. Especially that Potten guy. If he had made good on that deal, we'd...
No, we wouldn't. I always keep a whole bunch of antidotes on me for emergencies. And...
What? Then why did you get...
If this is true, if he changes his appearance...
No, you don't understand.
What do you mean?
We gotta hurry. She won't last much longer.
Don't move a muscle. I might be short, but I pack... Captain? You're just in time. While I was lying in wait, I spotted this crook snooping around, trying to find a way...
Whoa. His face.
Are you... Potten?
What?
This is how Potten looked before his face was marred.
Wait, so what's going on? Wasn't the whole point of the potion to disguise himself and escape Fontaine? Why?
Enough of this nonsense. Let me...
You better pipe down. There's an old lady in there.
To heck with it.
He's gotta be lying, right? Rawat was a
Forced against his will. Back when I was being coerced, everyone thought I was colluding of my own free will. And then when I actually became a criminal in my own right... Amazing what a difference a handsome face makes.
Save us the speech.
You want an explanation? Fine. I'll tell it how it is. When I was just Potten, the whole world treated me with contempt.
Ew. What do you want?
Women despise me.
Collaborate? You don't look like much of a researcher to me.
My peers scorned me.
Mr. Potten, was it? I'm most interested in your research. Consider my offer carefully. I doubt you'll find other investment opportunities.
Only villains would work with me.
You want out of the game? Forget about it. Turns out, I slipped up a little. Left your picture with some Marechaussee Phantom officers. So I suggest you put any thoughts of running away.
There was no way out for me until I could...
Mr. Rawat,
I became popular with women.
This new potion you developed is fascinating. Genius, in fact. Would you consider working with me?
My peers looked up to me.
Okay, I'm very interested in your research, sir. You must no doubt have offers from countless
And the villains even began to fear me. Becoming Rawat showed me what a superficial world we live in. But I did not hold a grudge. After all, this superficiality could be made to... Or so I thought. But alas, the world... Mother, I'm back. How are you doing?
Who are you?
I bought the best medicine Mora could buy, but nothing would cure her illness. In the end, I hoped she'd at least be able to see her son one last time before she passed, but... When everyone else rejected me, The only person who cared about me was my mother. Then...
I have to let her see me again. Even if it means donning my own wretched... Well, is that enough explaining for you?
Have you ever considered if you'll even be able to look your mother in the... You found a way to completely change your identity. You could eat...
Why would I want to give up on such a lucrative business? The profits were...
So you kept being a villain just for the money?
Villain? By what standard? Is doing evil deeds really what makes someone a villain in your eyes? Or does it all come down to the way... You have no right to judge me! You're all just fake people living in a hypocritical...
You're a villain to the core! But honestly, I don't see a villain when I look at your current...
Don't humor me. You don't seem surprised by...
I didn't know anything for sure until you chose to take that potion bottle and spare our... I had to confirm my suspicions.
Are you kidding me? A young, promising researcher and a wretched
Well, there were no visual clues. This potion's face-changing effect, but... I believe I understand humanity a little better than most of my kind. Humans have certain fundamental qualities that do not change with their appearance.
Fundamental qualities, huh? Most people probably don't know this, but I think I can guess what your deal is. You use it yourself, didn't you?
Sigewinne?
Yes, you're right.
I'll bet it was back in the days when Melazines were discriminated against. It was either carry on living in the gutters as part of an alien race cast out by humanity, or become the head. So you see, you and I...
That's not important right now. You came here to see your mother, didn't you?
Huh?
A head nurse. I'm not sure that's a good...
Don't worry. Back in the warehouse when I traded the potion for our lives, he was willing to risk sacrificing his only chance of escaping capture by
I see.
So before you arrest him, please allow him to see his mother one last time.
All right. I understand.
Okay.
Mom? It's me, Potton. Your son. Mom, what's wrong?
I'm sorry, but I have some bad news. I examined your mother last time we were here.
What?
Your appearance no longer has any bearing on her ability to recognize you. But...
No, it can't be. Please, Mom. Open your... I've done so much to get to this point. No.
The temperature of his palm must have changed. I'm sorry. It seems I couldn't bring him back to you after all.
It's you?
Oh, of course.
Mom! Why will you answer her and not...
No more questions, Potton. She's gone.
Mom? Mom?
Con ai sinh ra đã làm tốt cho kẻ xấu hết mọi người. Thì dựa vào môi trường sống tốt hoặc xấu khác nhau, tôi có thể thông cảm thanh niên. Tội thì chắc vẫn phải chịu, không có cách nào thoát được.
I'm sorry to say this, Potton, but you and I are not...
The wait is over, everyone! The sale of our new skincare product, Romaritime Essence, will now begin.
Another skincare promotion! And it's selling as fast as last time. Wonder what people... Oh, Sigewinne's here too! Hey, Sigewinne!
Oh, Traveler Paimon, hello! Oh, I hope you two got a good rest yesterday after all your hard work.
Cũng không có gì đâu.
Of course! Nurse's orders, right? Anyway, are you here to take notes for your next article?
Actually, I'm mostly here to help Officer Morgan wrap up yesterday.
Ah, that reminds Paimon. That stuff sold like crazy, didn't it?
Nope, there's nothing to worry about. Unless modified, Butterfly Dew is an excellent skincare product. Besides, officers have already retrieved all Butterfly Dew purchased on the market. After consulting Monsieur Nervulette, I came up with a way to neutralize any harmful effects. So it'll evaporate naturally with...
Wow, it's Sigewinne to the rescue again!
Thank you for serving as our consultant, head nurse. All the Butterfly Dew we recovered has been disposed of, according to your instructions.
Great! Good job, everyone!
Also, you mentioned you wanted a copy of Rawat's interrogation records. Well, after he saw his mother for the last time, it was like all his mental defenses came crashing. Apparently, the formula was something he discovered by chance while helping the criminal gang. Their supplier was Vache. But you could also argue that they were the ones doing him a favor. It made for a seamless collaboration. One man's trash.
Vache again, huh? Is there still no end to the harm he caused?
Make no mistake. The crimes of Vache and his accomplices will come to an end. Since the flood cut off their supply of primordial seawater, they've been forced to resort to riskier methods, like using their private reserve to attack people on the street. After receiving numerous reports, we were able to zero in on the gang. And
that sounds more like it.
Based on what he told us in his confession, we pretty much had him backed into a corner, even though he made a point of distancing himself from the gang while disguised as Rawat. He tried to throw us off his tail by reporting his accomplices, giving him enough time to transform back into Potton and see. But there was one thing he hadn't anticipated. Even though Potton had been missing for a long time.
So he tried this once before, huh? Guess he really did want his mother to see him again.
Looking at the interrogation records, it seems like he spent the first sum of money he earned as reward.
Yes, which is why I suspect that his initial motive for using the potion wasn't. Even so, he went too far.
I understand. Thank you for bringing me.
Why did you want them anyway?
Potton was one of my patients, so I need to put together a medical file for him.
Why are you still treating him like your patient?
That may be true, but a patient is a patient.
One last thing, head nurse. Please keep everything. It would be for the best if most of Fontaine knows nothing of its existence.
Of course. Not...
Thank you for understanding.
So, Sigewinne, did you really use that potion yourself?
Why do you sound so surprised, Paimon? I told...
You mean that story about the witch and the potion? So it was really, actually, genuinely a true story?
Yes, it really actually But... I know. There are some secrets I can't tell anyone about. But considering everything we've been through together, I know I can trust you with them. Before I tell you though, could you follow me somewhere? I want to pay my respects to an old friend.
Of course!
Gặp Nervulette Risley.
Huh. Nervulette and Risley, they're here too!
Good to see you, traveler. Paimon. I trust all has been going well for you?
Big news, everyone. The Udex is out of his office on important business.
Is that genuinely something people would consider?
Why wouldn't they? Important business is a big deal.
Yes, you're quite right. When someone you care about requires emotional support, being there for them at the right... After reading the Maréchal Phantom's reports...
Take note. That, my friends, is how Monsieur Nervulette shows that he cares. We're both here for the same purpose.
So the old friend she mentioned was her teacher then? The witch? Oh, sorry. Paimon didn't mean to be rude. It's only because Sigewinne calls her that.
I doubt she considers that title to be offensive, Paimon.
Indeed. In fact, I believe Sigewinne would take it as a sign of affection. In those days, many people harbored prejudices against Melusines.
Wow. It's really nice of you two to be here for Sigewinne.
Younger colleague. Well, that might be true for the Udex, but I'm not sure I can say the same. Sigewinne served a sentence in the fortress of Meripede hundreds of years ago, and after she did, strictly speaking, The head nurse has been around longer than most people in the fortress, myself included.
She served a sentence?
Yes. Long before I became Udex, there was an ancient law in Fontaine that prohibited any attempt to transform another species into a human. Initially, I and most researchers believed this law to have been imposed due to ethical concerns. But now, it seems more likely that the law was nothing more than an insurance policy, a way for Egeria to ensure that her people would remain.
Ignorance is bliss, as they say.
Sigewinne had her reasons for choosing to obtain a human form, but the act was nonetheless in clear violation of the law.
Could you tell us a little bit more about what happened back then?
Certainly. Sigewinne does not object to her close friends learning about her history. In fact, I first learned of it myself because she confessed the truth.
Even with their daughter so ill, they kicked you out? Stubborn as always. And prejudice isn't a disease I can cure either. Shame that I don't have the energy to get over there. You're laughable, you old...
Master, what are you...
I discovered a strange disease. One I suspect that every Fontanian suffers from. But without witnesses or proof, no one will... I had no choice but to experiment on myself to find a cure. But I hit a wall. And...
Then, I'll find a cure for you.
There's no need.
But, Master...
As I said before, a doctor's duty is to treat whatever ailments they can.
I know, but they don't trust me at all.
That girl. She's your first ever patient, isn't she? Tell me, what cost are you willing to bear to see her cured?
I'll do whatever it takes.
Even if it means breaking the law and being
as long as I don't hurt anyone. Yes.
Spoken like a true student of mine.
Okay.
Then I shall make one more final gamble. And see my experiment through to its end. If I am able to work this miracle, then I will have found a way to save all Fontanians. If not, then it means there is one more disease in this world that I cannot treat. I will leave you a parting gift. An accidental discovery happened to...
When Sigewinne returned, the miracle had not occurred. She found a potion bottle and a note on the table. After using the potion as instructed, and after I had confirmed the veracity of the events, I gave my verdict.
So that's what happened.
I fear Sigewinne only understood the full story after the truth about the dissolution of Fontanian. When I reflected on all this with that knowledge in hand, I felt a deep sense of regret. After the final details of the events surrounding Sigewinne's transformation came to light, I checked several sources and, thankfully...
Wonder how she feels about all this.
Since she invited you here, I imagine she intends to speak of these matters with you, no? On behalf of the Maréchal Phantom, I would like to once again thank the Fortress of Meripede for your assistance in the response to yesterday's prison break.
Our head nurse and the traveler in Paimon did most of the heavy lifting, I would say.
Sigewinne seems to be in good spirits. I trust...
Well, she might be the only permanent medical staff in the fortress, but there's plenty of people with medical knowledge willing to help her out.
I am most relieved to hear it.
The way you're asking after her well-being makes you sound like a concern...
Well, I won't lie.
Showing your age a bit there, don't you think?
Indeed. Actually, I often forget just how much older I am than you.
Well, while we're on the topic, what did you do before getting this job anyway? Spend all day swimming in the sea?
Yes, and from the surface to the ocean floor on occasion.
Wow. Impressive.
Apologies, that was Merely an attempt at humor.
That's impossible, I'm afraid. My...
Gán làm cho xong đi mọi người, để tôi đi nấu cơm.
You're here.
Ok.
The old friend I mentioned was my teacher. When she passed, her body was nowhere to be found.
Sigewinne, the witch who gave you the magic potion, she...
Sounds like Monsieur Nervillette filled you in.
After learning the truth, it must have been hard to process, huh?
Well, to be honest, after I realized what really happened that night...
But she was planning to sacrifice herself and never told you.
That's just who she was. If lying is what it took to get a kid to take their medicine, then that's what she'd do.
Alright, but why did you turn yourself in?
I broke the law, simple as that. My teacher made her choice.
True. It's just... the way Potton framed it when he was asking you all those... You're not like him at all, and everything Nervillette said confirms that. And yet, you were still convicted and thrown in prison.
Unfair? I happen to think just the opposite. If I hadn't served that time, I'm not...
Well, what makes you say that?
I knew you'd be curious. Let me tell you a story.
Rồi, tới cái lại kể chuyện. Chắc là một
The
giọng.
verdict came down. This Melazine is guilty. The Eudex defended the authority of Fontaine law, but he did not confiscate the Melazine's medical kit. And so, the fortress of Meripede gained a new little doctor. She still wore her hood and raincoat, even though it never rained in the fortress. Perhaps thanks to her human appearance, no one refused her treatment. She treated more and more patients, and her sentence grew ever shorter. Finally, the people of the fortress could not live without her, and though her sentence ended, she did not leave them either. Then one day, she received an invitation from the outside world. The location seemed familiar, and when she arrived, an old lady was waiting for her. She saw right through the Melazine's disguise, but didn't reveal it. Instead, she asked a question.
Tell me, why do you think you gained the respect of so many people, despite being a Melazine?
Because I look like a human?
It's been 50 years, Sigewinne, and you haven't aged a day. I think everyone knows you are not human. I finally found you, after all these years. I still remember, you know. It was you who saved me that night.
But how? I was no longer a Melazine by then.
Does it really matter if you're human or Melazine? I remembered the warmth of your palm. It's quite unmistakable. And you know what? It hasn't changed one bit. You don't have to hide anymore, Sigewinne. These days, everyone wants to make friends with Melazines. And I think that it's all because of you. I'm sorry I couldn't say this until now, but thank you, Dr. Melazine.
Now that's an ending Paimon can get behind.
After hearing everything Potton said, I wanted to tell him that it didn't matter who he looked like on the outside. But it was too late. The warmth in his palm had already disappeared. I tried to treat him, but the roots of his problem had nothing to do with his face. I understand. Thanks, you two. I appreciate you being here for me while I talk this through.
Oh, it's nothing. Our pleasure.
Oh, there's one more reason I invited you here. It's about time I finally give you what I promised. In order to restore the appearances of the face-swapping victims, The Marishose Phantom gave me special.
We don't need it though.
Well, even if you chose to destroy it, I still thought I should give it to you.
Well, fair enough, but still. If this is the very last bottle in all of Tevat, Melusine physiology wasn't affected by the Great Flood, right? So that means the potion, after all, from a Melusine point of view,
Paimon, after everything, do you really...
Well, what was Paimon thinking? You made up your mind?
Leave it to me.
Ok, vậy là đã xong nhiệm vụ truyền thuyết rồi. Nhiệm vụ truyền thuyết nó khá là cảm xúc đấy chứ nhỉ?
I'd like to stay here with my teacher for a little.
Ok. Ok mọi người, thì cái như đây là kết thúc rồi. Nhiệm vụ truyền thuyết này khá là cảm xúc. Tôi đã sụp sùi ở cái đoạn mà cái scene cuối. Tới bây giờ thì cũng tạm dừng video ở đây thôi. Thì mình sẽ gặp lại nhau một video khác. Ok. Bye bye mọi người. Chúc ngày tốt lành nha.